The discipline of inner order. Now, most retirees I talk to are not afraid of work at all. They've worked their whole lives. What they're not always prepared for is the sudden lack of structure. For 40 years or more, the alarm clock kept ringing, getting up. There was a place to be all the time. There were people depending on them, decisions that had to be made, problems had to be solved. Then one day they just up and quit, and all that's changed. So, at first it feels like freedom. You can sleep later. That's kind of neat. You can move slower. You can choose your own schedule. But after a few months, sometimes a quiet drift begins, and it's at bedtime moves around. Meals get kind of off, irregular. Structure's lost. Walking gets postponed. News gets watched a little too long. Worry has more room to sit down without meaning to. Just the outer structure, it disappears, and the inner structure hasn't been rebuilt yet. Now, that's where discipline comes in, but not the harsh kind, not punishment, not the pressure. I'm talking about inner order, a steady arrangement inside your own life. Older generations understood this better than we give them credit for. They didn't always use these big words, these big terms, acronyms. They just kept a rhythm going. They rose with the daylight. They worked when it was time to work. They rested when it was time to rest. Now, we've talked about this. We've mentioned this, but I need to get this home to you. They didn't chase every headline like we do today. They didn't let their thoughts wander unchecked all day. They kept their inner house in order. That matters more in retirement than people think. When you're no longer managed by a job, you must quietly manage yourself. I've had to learn that too. There were seasons when I thought freedom meant removing structure. Now, it doesn't. Freedom actually requires the structure. Now, you can start this without just being retired. I mean, you can start the earlier, the better. But without this structure, the body gets confused. The mind drifts. The spirit just feels unsettled. The body keeps record over decades, as we've talked about before. It remembers late nights. It remembers the stress. It remembers long time seasons of pushing your body through to the limits. When retirement comes, that record shows up. Sleep changes, blood pressure drifts, energy isn't what it was. That's not decline, that's information. Inner order starts with simple things. Wake up at a consistent time, a schedule, even if it's not early. Let sunlight hit your eyes in the morning. Step outside if you can. Drink clean water, not just out of the plastic bottle, as we've talked about before. It's been sitting in the truck all day, afternoon with the sun shining on it, Add a pinch of mineral salt if you need it. The body runs on balance, not just volume. A lot of people over time just flush themselves with a liquid they call water. Too much plain water, too much caffeine, not enough minerals. Then they wonder over a period of time, why do you feel weak? Why do you feel restless? The potassium and magnesium matter, but it's been skewed over years. Copper matters in the right proportion. Iodine matters. Zinc. You don't need to obsess over it. You just need to respect that the body is electrical. It runs on a charge and it requires balance. In order also means guarding what you allow in your mind. If you wake up and go straight to anxious, negative headlines, you're setting the tone for your whole day. Now, that's not discipline, that's surrender. Older thinkers in the 19th century, as we reflect back to, talked about governing thought. They believed the mind shaped the body over time, not in a magical, mystical way, in a lawful way. If a man carried constant resentment, it wore on him forever. If a woman carried steady gratitude, it steadied her. Thought has direction. It sets the stage. It's not random. It builds grooves over years. That's why inner order requires attention. You don't have to deny reality, by no means. You just need to let every passing thought set up camp in your living room. Sleep is part of this discipline, not just collapsing in front of the darn television, but real sleep. A dark room, consistent hour. Let the body repair. The night is when restoration happens. And growth hormone rises in the body. Cells repair. The brain clears waste. You cannot rush that process. If you spent decades pushing, retirement is the time to rebuild in a steady way. Let your body catch back up with itself, not to abandon order completely. Now listen, fasting, even lightly, can help reset your appetite and clarity. It doesn't have to be extreme. Sometimes simple spacing meals and allowing the body to rest from constant digestion is enough. When you're always eating, cramming food, snacking, the system never gets a pause. It didn't get a break. Now, it's just common sense, and you stop and think about it, chew on that a little bit, and you'll understand the reasoning behind that. Discipline creates that pause. Sunlight matters too. 5 or 10 minutes outside without sunglasses, letting your eyes and skin register the day. The body was designed for cycles of light and darkness. When we ignore that, inner order weakens. I've noticed something else too. When a retiree begins rebuilding inner order, confidence in themselves returns. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence, the kind that says, I may not control the world, but I can manage my own system. Now, that's project management at the personal level. You manage crews, you manage budgets, households, crises you handled. Now you manage sleep, your hydration, movement, thought patterns. Same skill, different field. You're the project. Retirement is not the final act. It's the second act. This is the season where you have time to refine yourself. Younger generations need your they need steady mentors in general. They don't need just advice. They need to see calm in action. They need to see someone who isn't shaken by every shift. Inner order produces that calm. Faith supports it too. Not panic, not fear-based religion. Faith as steadiness with the Creator. Trust that order that exists in nature. Trust that. Trust that the body can repair when given proper conditions. Trust that your years still have purpose. When your inner life is arranged well, the outer world feels less threatening to you. Problems still come. Health still requires attention, but you respond rather than react. You respond. You are obtaining wisdom. Now that's discipline, not strict, not rigid, just steady. If you find yourself drifting, don't shame yourself, just rebuild yourself gently. Set a bedtime, walk in the morning, drink water with minerals, eat with intention, guard your thoughts, rest well, get the sunlight, respect your body's record without fearing it. Over time for sure, the inner house becomes orderly again. This is a proven fact. And when that happens, peace follows. It follows naturally. It's God-given. Retirement is not about slowing into weakness. It's about aligning yourself, transforming yourself with a rhythm that serves the next 20 or 30 years wisely. And that begins inside. Now, I don't have all this figured out. I'm still working on it myself. So let's keep moving forward on this journey together. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you.